we're all in the same boat. Gary, 90% of all the HR laws out there that apply to the Fortune 1000 apply to you, apply to me. How many people with masters in HR do you have working for you?
There's so many dynamics, right? It's not easy. There's not just a one, here you go, plug it in, one simple answer. What do you kind of foresee the future of dental looking like from an HR legal perspective?
You getting sued is not because you were trying to do something wrong, right? You just didn't know.
Welcome back to another episode of Dental Marketing Theory. I'm your host, Gary Bird. I'm the founder of SMC National, where we help you create, convert, and close more new patients so you can grow the way that you want. But it's kind of hard to grow when you're getting sued all the time. Today, I have Ali, who's an attorney at Dental and Medical Counsel PC, and he's going to break down what the number one thing dentists are getting sued for right now and what you can do to prevent it. And I promise you, this is one of those things that you have to know. You don't want to know it, but you have to know it. So stay tuned and pay attention because this is a game changer. All right, we are live, and I'm excited to have this conversation today with Ali. Ali, why don't you tell me how you got into the dental industry?
Yeah, thanks, Gary. So I kind of fell into it. I feel like most people in my boat, kind of fall into it. But I was doing the big law firm thing, and I started helping my wife's classmates and co-residents because she's a dentist. And I quickly realized, holy cow, this is so much more fun than what I'm doing with these big corporations. And like, these people actually care about their businesses, and they care about their patients, and they care about, getting started as, in their entrepreneurial, career or journey. And so I left and opened up our firm, and it's been super fun since. I mean, we have been able to help, a lot of people around the country. And it's so awesome because, as they start this journey, Gary, right, they go into dental school with the goal of helping patients and doing what they need to do on that front because they have a passion for it. They come out ready to rock and roll, but with very little education when it comes to how to be an entrepreneur and how to be legal and how to have, the right things on an HR perspective. And so being able to kind of walk them through that has been really special. And so it's been great. Our focus has always been on helping these younger doctors getting going. So it's pretty awesome. But yeah, that's my story.
That's awesome. So now you mainly work with dentists, is that right? Is that your main target, or do you have like a mix of?
Exactly. Yeah, that's how we started. We work with optometrists now too, veterinarians, physicians, a lot of folks in the aesthetics world, Botox and things of that nature. But most of our clients still, 75% or so, are still dentists. I find them to be the most active when it comes to wanting to start on this journey.
Hey, sorry to interrupt the show, but I want to make sure that you're going to DECMA 2024. It's July 10th through the 12th. And guess what? We are going to be speaking on the main stage, and we're going to be hosting a boot camp as well. And we want to give away some free tickets. So how do you win these free tickets? You go to smcnational.com. Again, that's smcnational.com. Click the little bar that says enter to win free tickets to DECMA, and then you submit your information, and everybody's a winner. We're going to be giving a discount to everybody who enters, and we're going to be giving away some free tickets to the conference itself and to the boot camp. Make sure you sign up for these right away. Back to the show. Awesome. And what are some of the biggest problems that you're seeing right now from a legal standpoint with dentists? And then if you could also just qualify our audience is like 5 to 10 location type dentist, right? So are you just qualify like who you're talking about? Are you talking about big DSOs, middle-sized groups, single locations, just so my audience has a good understanding?
Yeah, sure. Of course. Yeah. So, when it comes to like legal issues, at least in dentistry, it really just comes down to one thing, which is, there's a lot of problems you can potentially have, right, with landlords and leases and partners and whatnot. But the main thing that we see are HR lawsuits. And the reason is because whether you're just starting out, right, you're an associate somewhere and you want to open your first practice or buy an office, you know nothing about HR laws. And so you need to, get educated real fast or use a tool like HR for Health to help you there. Then you got the mid-career folks who are in business for a while, who have been doing things, maybe they're okay, nothing as bad has happened, so they're sailing along, but they kind of know in the back of their minds that, there's some open issues. And so they are, potentially, going to get trapped in this. And then there's the groups, like you were mentioning. The groups, what we call them are the emerging groups. As you know, in our, our DSO Leadership Summit that we host at HR for Health, our focus is on helping the emerging groups. So these are the guys that have 3 to 5 on the low end and 20 plus whatever on the high end, offices where they really don't have the HR systems to be compliant as they grow. And that exposes them because obviously they have that many more employees. So I would say number one thing is HR.
Got it. And then, so what are the traps that they're falling into? Like what's happening around HR? Because I know you gave me a statistic. You said there's been a 400% increase in the last couple years of HR legal incidents. So what's like the main thing that you just keep seeing over and over and over again?
Yeah. I mean, it comes down to a couple of things. I mean, the top issue we have is something called wage and hour, and wage and hour is where you're not paying your employees correctly or giving them lunches at their right time or breaks or overtime. So that's by far the top issue that comes down the pipe most frequently. But then we have something called unlawful termination, which, is you let somebody go because, suddenly they complain about something or they're pregnant or they get older or they get injured. Like we get a lot of those kind of calls, where somebody had surgery on their knee. They've been out for, 3 months. They need to be let go. The doctor does it without kind of talking to anyone. So those are the kind of things that we see a lot of, right? We see a lot of. And the nice thing is, all these things are totally avoidable, Gary, right? Like totally avoidable, right? But the key is to be hearing podcasts like this and to talk to others so that they know enough to raise their hand and ask for help. Right. Because if they don't know they need help, then, we're not there to help them.
Yeah. And so man, so many questions of how to walk through this. So how does someone begin to even start to protect themselves on this? Is it simply communicating, getting educated? Is that as simple? Cause I've gone through that, right? Like for me, I've been sued. I've been sued for all the things you just listed and had to go through the whole legal process and all those kind of things. So and a lot of times the entrepreneur feels like, well, I didn't do anything wrong, right? Like I didn't do anything. The person didn't show up to work, right? And I let them go. And then it's like, well, nope, you didn't know that they had a medical issue and that and so on and so forth. So how does someone even begin to walk through this and protect themselves from it? Because it obviously is happening all the time.
Happening all the time. And this is part of the problem with owning a small business, right? Whether it's a marketing company, a law firm, or a dental practice, right? We're all in the same boat, right? We're all in the same boat because 90%, Gary, 90% of all the HR laws out there that apply to the Fortune 1000 apply to our clients, apply to you, apply to me. I mean, 90%. So, I mean, how many people with masters in HR do you have working for you, right? Right? I mean, it's just it just doesn't happen, right? We just don't have it. And so what we've done at HR for Health, our mission has been to be able to support these small practice owners with all the tools they need as if they had an entire HR department behind them. But it's just a software product that they manage. And so when you say, what is the first step? Well, the first step is to get started with experts that are available to kind of help you just navigate through this, right? To navigate through this. And we've tried to keep it very simple as far as the software is concerned, because we give them an employment manual, right? We give that to everybody for free as part of this membership, because we don't want anybody to say, oh, I didn't want to spend $6,000 on a lawyer to do it. Or there's this company that does, mom and pop employment manuals out of their garage, I don't want to spend $5,000 for them. It's no, let's professionalize all of this, right? Let's make sure that HR is not a risk threat in your practice. Focus on everything else. Just leave the HR to us. And so the first thing is that I would say just talking to experts. But I hear you, man. I mean, you getting sued is not because you were trying to do something wrong, right? You just didn't know, right?
Didn't know the rules. Yeah. I didn't know the rules. Now I know, for now we have an HR department, all those kind of things, and we have all these rules, and it's I don't get to just say or do whatever I want. I have to be hey, what's going on here? What's the context? HR has to meet with the manager. The manager has to do a review. There's all these processes that we have to protect the company. And that's what it's like
Right.
sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for, right? So it's like, oh, I want to grow, I want this big business, but you have to realize that that comes with things, right? It comes with the responsibilities, it comes with legal burdens. Like if you're a one-man shop and it's just you and your brother running it, you know what I mean? Like, of course, like you're not going to have a ton of legal issues from an HR standpoint, but you're going to have a boatload of issues from if as you grow, as you get bigger, and as you have more team members, and you don't have these systems in place. So getting that employee manual is huge. Anything else, like if for these like 5 to 10 locations, they're starting to grow and they're starting to break off into these like, bigger and bigger groups and more money. What else do they have to really think through? Breaks, layoffs, anything else to keep in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the issues that we see when people are growing, especially when they're growing quick, is they grow into 3, 5, 7, 10 offices and they operate them as if they had just one, right? And so you can't do that. As you grow, you need to have way more systems in place to cover all the day-to-day stuff that happens. So performance reviews, annual, reviews that are done, violations, time tracking, all of that needs to be done kind of in a way that is streamlined so that because you have more than one office, you can't keep an eye on 5 or 7 like you do one, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things I see though, with all of this is something you just actually brought up, which is having systems in place for all the things that we take for granted, right? If you have one office and you need to let go of someone, what are you going to do? You're going to sit down, you see them and you talk to them and you might let them. If you have 5 and you're the owner, you can't see what everyone's doing in all 5 at all times. And so you have to follow a system where there's a review done, there's maybe a violation, there's signatures, right? And so we simplify all of that. And one of our cool things that we have in our software is our time clock. Gary tells the doctor or the office manager, whoever they set in charge there, they send them a note that says, hey, this person clocked in 5 minutes late or 7 minutes late or whatever. That way, everyone's kind of keeps an eye on the things that can cause trouble. Right. And so if someone's tardy all the time, that tells you something about them.
Yeah, I love that. What are, as you kind of think about the future, because the future right now, where dental's in a weird spot because these offices are kind of stuck because they want to hire people, but their costs are really high. Their labor is really high. And so you get this game of like retention becomes really, really important.
Yeah.
There's so many dynamics, right? There's so many, it's not easy. There's not just a one, here you go, plug it in, one simple answer. What do you kind of foresee the future of dental looking like from an HR legal perspective? Like where should people be thinking about in the future of things to worry about and to protect themselves?
Yeah. We have to kind of look at what people were saying about this generation when they were starting to kind of go through college and get into the workforce, right? What was the stereotype?
Which generation? The Gen Z or
the Gen Zs? Yeah,
okay,
the Gen Zs. Like it's the thought process was, look, they don't care about money that much. It's all about lifestyle and those kind of things. They want to enjoy where they're working. I think as this group is getting older, right, as they're getting older and kind of getting into sort of true, adulthood, and they're in their 30s and so on and so forth, I think what you're going to see is this group want that from their long-time job. And so what does that mean? It means not just being respected, but also just enjoying where they work, right? And enjoying where they work is not about throwing parties all the time, right? Like there's only so much you can do in a dental practice, right? Yeah. But it's about, being challenged, but being respected at the same time, right? Nobody is afraid of hard work for the most part. I shouldn't say nobody, but a lot of people don't mind hard work. It's a matter of, do they enjoy the work that they do? Do they feel respected? And part of that respect, Gary, like you said, it's not just one thing. But part of that respect is my employer caring enough about my job that they give me all the benefits they're supposed to? They're giving me fair compensation. I'm not saying you should pay people the highest possible because the mechanics of a dental practice don't necessarily allow for the highest compensations, right? The margins are what they are. But paying them fairly, giving them benefits, making sure their vacations and PTOs are calculated correctly. Like we see so many people sue our doctors, not because they don't like the doctors, Gary, but because they're like, hey, I didn't get, I was supposed to get 10 vacation days and I got 4. I feel like I got gypped, And so they just do stuff because they just feel like they're being taken advantage.
Yeah.
And I think your experience probably is going to be the same as mine here. I feel like our doctors really work hard to do the right thing, right? It's very few of them that I've come across in my 20 years that actually try to take advantage of their employees, right? Most are just doing their best, but they just don't have the resources to do all the HR stuff correctly until now.
Yep. How if someone has questions about this kind of stuff, how do they reach out and get the first steps going with you?
So as far as HR is concerned, what I would do is I would go to hr4health.com. So that's, the 4 is FOR, not the number 4, but hr4health.com. Or they can just Google me and find my info and I'll chat with you.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Ali. This is a really important topic, and I appreciate you sharing it and giving us those things to watch for. I really appreciate that.
No, thanks for the invite, Gary. This was a lot of fun, and I appreciate you. Thanks.